Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we celebrate and praise and hold in the light those who are truly making significant contributions in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful to be here. I want to thank Wilkes Communications, River Street Productions, and 100.9 WIFM for this opportunity. And our featured guest is Sandra Burchette, and I've really enjoyed getting to know her. She's the principal at East Wilkes Middle School. She's the Wilkes County Principal of the Year and is a significant role model in our community. And again, we're grateful to have her. And thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
You're a Wilkes native and spent all of your professional career as a teacher and principal here. So tell us about those growing up years and your family and some of those things, Sandra Burchette.
Okay. I grew up in eastern Wilkes County. I attended CBL Elementary School. I went on from there to East Wilkes High School. I grew up in a fairly large family. I had 2 older sisters, a younger brother, and we all grew up and enjoyed spending time together as a family, going on vacations together. Fishing is one of the things that we enjoyed doing, going to the coast fishing. And after graduating from East Wilkes High School, I went on to Appalachian State University, where I received my Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. Okay. I taught for 13 years at North Wilkesboro Elementary. I taught 3rd grade initially, then I moved to 4th and then 2nd grade. And from there, I received my master's in school administration, had the opportunity to move into assistant principal role. I served at Mountain View Elementary School and Millers Creek Elementary School as assistant principal. And then I was able to move into my first principalship at Rhonda Klingman. From there, I moved to a principal's position at Wilkesboro Elementary. And while at Wilkesboro, I decided to pursue my EDS, Educational Specialist degree, and completed that. And I do have all of my degrees from Appalachian State University. And most recently, it's been an honor to serve as principal of East Middle School.
Ms. Burchette, you mentioned this EDS. Tell us a little bit more about, explain that to us.
The EDS degree is a licensure that would allow me to become a superintendent if I ever chose to do so, or at a minimum to work in the central office at a district level. I was part of a cohort at Appalachian, and that cohort was made mostly of local folks here from Wilkes County, from surrounding counties in the Northwest region, and we met and we did all of our classwork together. We did some face-to-face classes. We also did some online classes.
Okay. Michelle Shepard, a dear friend of ours and a significant role model, share the role that maybe she helped you along the way, encouraged you to do some things that you hadn't thought about maybe.
Absolutely. Mrs. Shepard was my principal initially when I was at North Wilkesboro as a teacher. She gave me opportunities to have leadership roles at North Wilkesboro. I was school improvement team chair, I was SACS chair, and she allowed me to shadow her. And she was really one of the folks in the school system that said, Sandra, you need to do something more. She saw something in me that I appreciate her recognition and allowing me those opportunities. And I actually had my first assistant principal's job under her at Millers Creek. So I had the opportunity to work for her as a teacher and then with her in administration. So Mrs. Shepard has been a great influence.
Michelle Shepard. Now the cohort word was a new one for me. Expand on that a little bit.
As I said, it's a group. Usually there's no more than 20 or 25 students. They do try to keep it fairly small to provide that one-on-one as much as possible, that experience where you can really get to know the professors get to know you. And in doing the cohort, they try to keep it local, and so that we aren't with students maybe clear across the state. The cohort that I was part of with my EDS was contained people just from the northwest counties here in North Carolina. So able to network with people that are pretty close by and still maintain that communication with them.
Ms. Burchette, you've had experience in administration in elementary, middle school, and high school, right?
Not high school.
You have not had
just
that
elementary and middle.
Okay. Some of the pluses, the things you learn in the elementary and then moving into the middle school, is that transition? Can you share that with us?
I think one of the biggest things that I have learned coming from elementary and moving into middle is the importance of communication. Whether it is communication with the folks in your building, communication with parents, just keeping everyone aware of what's going on, that is probably the biggest thing that I would say goes across both levels.
Okay. Now you are the principal today at East Wilkes Middle School.
Yes.
And how many students you have?
We have about 400.
And staff and teachers?
We, accounting certified and non-certified, around 50.
50. Tell us about coming there the first day and how that, the excitement of a new challenge, if you will, about going to East Middle.
Well, I can sit here and honestly tell you that I love middle school more than I ever thought that I would. With all of my experience in the classroom and then administration up to this point being in elementary, I really didn't know what to expect. Dr. Hemrick was the superintendent who offered me the opportunity to go. And at that point in my career, I felt like I was ready for a challenge. I was ready for something different, and it has been wonderful. Middle school, the children are, well, they're not really children anymore. They're young ladies and young men. And you can communicate with them, you can talk with them, you can tease with them, and they get it. They are exercising their independence, their choices, taking on responsibility. It's just a really good age. And I can say that the folks at East Wilkes Middle School are absolutely wonderful to work with. They welcomed me. Obviously, I had very little to no background in middle school and knowledge of it. They have helped me. I learn daily from them, and it's been a tremendous way they've embraced me at East Wilkes Middle.
One of my favorite questions, the calling to be an educator. Share that.
I do think that being in education is a calling. It's not something that I think you necessarily set out to do, because you can do far more, have opportunities in different professions to do far more and be recognized more, whether it's monetarily, through other awards, recognitions. But you have to have the teaching, you have to have the education in your heart. And I feel like I do. I wake up every morning and I truly know that this is what God intended me to do. I know I don't always do it perfectly. I know I make mistakes, but I can tell you I lay my head down at night feeling satisfied that I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing.
As I visited your school that particular afternoon, you were sharing with a parent, and you transitioned from that to sharing some time with me, and you said, that's the part I probably enjoy most. Tell us about that, how you connect with parents, and a lot of times it's challenges, I'm sure, but you look forward to that part of it.
I do. Again, I think it goes back to the communication that we talked about earlier, and parents just knowing that I'm available, whether it's face-to-face, by telephone, by email, that I will always listen. They may not always like what I have to say, we may not always agree, but I do think at the end of the day, we leave still with respect for each other and an understanding that they are there as an advocate for their child, and I am too.
And you mentioned the key to that's being a great listener.
Yes. Yes.
So can you share that?
I think it's important to always listen and not immediately jump in with, well, this is what I think or this is what I know. Just listen, and that can usually give you a better understanding of where the other person's coming from, and it helps just to listen.
Ms. Burchette, when we talk about a day, I know they're all different, but just kind of share how we get through the day. How do you, the things that might happen, or you try to get in the classroom every day, or tell us a little bit about some things that you enjoy most about a day.
The highlight of my day is generally morning car line. I enjoy being out on the sidewalk in the mornings. You know, whether it's cold, whether it's raining, I enjoy being out there saying good morning to the students, waving at parents in the car line, and you know, sometimes parents will stop and roll their window down and speak to me. The children will typically say good morning. That's something that we've worked on at East Middle is when an adult speaks to you, you know, make sure that you reply back and have that good eye contact. Mm-hmm. And that's always a good way to start my morning. From there, I generally go in and I start my morning on 8th grade hall, welcoming students and seeing 8th graders as they come in. And I don't always, but I try to get into most rooms every day. I enjoy going in and seeing what they're doing and talking to them about what they're doing. And then if I can, I end my day in car line too, because in the afternoon, all the students are out there. So I can walk amongst them and speak to them and ask them how their day has gone and have that opportunity. Maybe if I didn't get into the classroom, I can see them in the afternoon.
Yeah. Club Day. Tell us about that.
That's something that we started new at East Middle this year, kind of as a result of a program we are starting in all the middle schools called The Leader in Me, just to give the students an opportunity to exercise some of their choice, do some things that they're interested in, and also not be segregated, because typically during the school day we keep our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders separate. But when we do Club Day, they had the opportunity at the beginning of this school year to sign up for the club they wanted. And it's not necessarily an academic club. We have anything from classic rock to NASCAR to acoustic music to craft club.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
Truly things that the students enjoy. And again, they're all mixed up, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on a Friday at the end of the day. And they do something. In craft club, they've made t-shirts. In acoustic music, we had our last club day just last week, and I was able to get in, and 2 of the students played and sang a song for me on their guitar. It's just been incredible. I've had a lot of good response from the teachers. I think the teachers have enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. Like I said, not necessarily academic, but something they enjoy, something they're passionate about. And then the students have enjoyed it. They look forward to our club day, and I have gotten a real sense for that from some of the parents. Parents have said, Mrs. Burchette, I don't know what you're doing with club day, but my son, my daughter got out of the bed ready to come to school this morning.
So this is a community type effort, I guess. Are there more popular clubs, or can you share with that?
The fitness clubs are more popular. Getting outside and walking, or the weightlifting, those were 2 popular clubs. Our service project club was very popular. At Christmas, they made treat bags for local rest home patients, and they were able to take them and deliver those. So some are more popular than others, but I think next year it will be even more successful and more interest than we had this year.
Please share with us your experience as a teacher. That great feeling that came from being in front of the class. Do that for me.
That is probably the one thing that I miss the most being in administration, is being in a classroom with my students. On the opposite end of that, though, I can look at the whole school and say they're all my students now. So that is one reason why I do enjoy going into the classroom, and you know, if it's a student maybe who's struggling, if I can squat down beside of their desk or bend down and help them, that brings back, you know, that passion that I had in the classroom for helping my 2nd graders, 4th graders, and And I do miss that. I do still enjoy doing that.
You go to the cafeteria during lunches? Is that part of it, the observing and chatting with youngsters?
I do. I don't make it in there every day, but I do get into the cafeteria as often as I can and talk to students and just sit down with them and just have that opportunity again to build those relationships. I think at all levels, but especially at middle school, it's about the relationships, and the students know that yes, we're there to serve a purpose, to provide their academic, but also to know that we care about them as individuals.
In school setting, there's a significant role for the support people, the custodian,
Absolutely.
the the nutrition workers, the bus drivers. The essence of those folks who tirelessly serve behind the scenes, that makes it work, I bet.
It does. I would consider the folks you named, the office staff, the custodians,
Yeah.
bus drivers, ladies in the cafeteria, they're pretty much the unsung heroes. They are the ones that generally are there, that they are rarely ever out. And when they are out, we can tell it. We know someone's missing, but they go, I think, largely unnoticed just because that's who they are. But the school could not run without all of those folks. They make it happen every day.
Tell us about having a son in your school.
That has been interesting this year. We were a little concerned initially when Dr. Hemrick asked me would I be willing to go to East Middle, because we knew that my son would attend there. And before I answered Dr. Hemrick, my husband and I did have a conversation with him and just said, how do you feel about it? We want your input. And he was like, I think it'd be cool, Mom. So, going off of that and, just thinking about it and talking about it, it's been good. I have been on sixth grade hall, obviously, but I've left a lot of it to my assistant principal, Mrs. Belk, and let her handle a lot of sixth grade, just because I didn't want to seem like I was hovering.
Right.
or
What's his name?
His name is Nathaniel.
Okay.
And he's had a great year.
Do you have other children?
No, just Nathaniel.
Okay. And your husband's name?
He's Brian.
Brian. Okay. I was interested in your newsletter. Let's talk about that, if you will.
I do a monthly newsletter that gets published on our school website, and it's just to keep it, again, it goes back to that communication, keeping parents informed of what's coming up that month in regards to athletics, if it's a book fair, an opportunity to come have lunch with their student, pictures, just anything and everything that's going on that month, just so we can make sure that we're getting that word out.
Yeah.
And we have also just recently worked to create a newsletter that we've sent out to the community, highlighting everything that, well, not everything, but the highlights of the first semester.
Wow.
We sent those out to members of the community because we heard some people say that, well, I don't have children there anymore. I don't know what's going on. And our mission at East Wilkes Middle School is together. We learn, lead, succeed. And we truly know that together means everybody. People inside our building, students, parents, but also the community who may not have children there but still support us. So we sent that letter out about 2 weeks ago, and I heard a lot of positive feedback
Great.
at church myself, and then
Yeah.
other teachers came in and said that they had heard a lot of folks in their neighborhoods or at church, at different gatherings, that they really enjoyed the newsletter, and that's something they hope will continue, because
Yeah.
with not having children there, they have lost contact. So it was nice to hear what was going on at East Middle.
Communications are such an important part of community. People want to know good. They
Yes.
want to be inspired by the wonderful things that you're doing. That's a great way to reach out.
There's lots of good going on at East
Lots
Middle.
of good going on. You talked about a family concept in your value system, family concept with including everyone in the community and in the school. Would you like to share that with us, the family?
And I think in my mind, when I think of family, I think about the relationships. And it's just letting the students and the families and the community know that yes, our primary goal and reason for being there is to provide the education for the students, but it goes far beyond that. If we can help in any manner, if there's been any kind of tragedy, if we can chip in as a school and help in any way. An example, we had an 8th grade student who lost 2 siblings in a house fire. And the 8th grade students came to one of the teachers and said, we want to do something, we've got to do something. And they pretty much did it. She was there as a facilitator, the other 8th grade teachers, parents, the small role that I played, but the students did it. They had a car wash, a bake sale, and they raised money to help this family during this time. And that's just one example, but it truly goes beyond just being there to provide an education. And as I said, we recognize that is our primary goal. Yeah. That's our main reason, but it has to be more than that.
Ms. Burchette, you talked about a great teacher and that model, that mentor, that giver, that person whose life is about embracing not only children but the community and families. When you talked about a great teacher with me, you shared a couple of things. Let's visit that for a minute.
What I look for in a great teacher is someone who has the content knowledge, and that comes from going to school, going to college, and getting that degree. The pedagogy of education, being able to manage a classroom and be flexible and change on a dime if something happens. But the part that I think can't be taught, can't be learned, is what a former superintendent referred to, and I agree, is the compelling nature. You have to have that like I was saying earlier, that in your heart, that in your being that makes you want to be there, that people are drawn to you, that they recognize that you are there for more than just, this is the content, this is what I'm teaching. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's what makes a great teacher. It's that drawing. And I can say the teachers that I truly remember from elementary all the way to high school, that's what I remember about them. Yes, they taught me, yes, I learned, but it was more than that. They wanted to know about me. They cared about me.
Can you, would you like to highlight one or two maybe role model teachers that maybe you had as a student?
Oh goodness, I could name many. I would hate to not mention anyone, but someone or a couple that do come to mind. Mrs. Linda Davis. I had her in a 1st and 2nd grade combination. I had her for 2 years, and she will always stand out as being one of my favorite teachers that, like I said, took an interest in me. Yeah. She pushed me to do, to read and do things in those early years, and I attribute a lot of my success to her pushing me early on. And then in high school, I had an English teacher, Mrs. Ann Surratt. She, again, she was just so inspirational, and I knew that she looked at me as more than just her student and encouraged me and said, you're going to college, you can do this. So encouragement.
Wow. You're also doing something at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon I thought was quite enlightening. Tell us about that.
That is our weekly school messenger. Again, that's just another means of communication. We have the newsletter that highlights monthly events on our website, but every week I do a quick reminder over telephone and email of weekly events. And again, that's just to keep parents up to date on athletic events that are coming up. If they didn't get their yearbook, they still have an opportunity to get their yearbook, just anything that parents need to know. And it was nice. I got an email from a parent not too long ago that was just thanking me for doing that, because she said if I didn't do that, she wouldn't have any clue what was going on, because her 8th grade son didn't talk to her. And I think that's just normal for middle school. But again, just to keep everyone informed as much as possible about what's going on at East Middle.
What about a great award that your school was recognized just this week? Tell us about that.
It was a very nice surprise. I was out in the building and the secretary called me to come to the office, and she didn't indicate why, and I thought, this could be good or this could be bad. I didn't know what to expect. And when I walked into the office, a reporter from the Tribune, which is the newspaper in Elkin, Surrey County, Eastern Wilkes County, was there to present our school with an award, Reader's Choice Award. We were voted as the best middle school in the area.
Wow.
So that was a huge honor, a very nice surprise for all of the families and community members that voted for us and gave us that recognition.
Wow. There's an initiative system-wide in middle schools called Leader in Me, the Stephen Covey, Franklin Covey outreach, if you will. Give us an idea of the accomplishments there.
The Leader in Me is based on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, and that is something that we are in the initial stages of in our middle school of internalizing ourselves as the adults in the building. That's one of those things I think that we have to embrace it and we have to believe in it, and we really have to live it and walk it before we can start sharing it and having our students live it. So we've spent a lot of time with the staff on professional development, book reads, trainings, and we are slowly starting to roll that out to our students. And it is nice to see the example I gave earlier with the 8th graders having the initiative to want to do the car wash. That was a perfect example of the Leader in Me, taking that initiative, having that leadership role and carrying it through to the very end. Other things that we've worked on that has been nice to see, when students are talking to you, they will maintain that eye contact. They respond appropriately if spoken to, or they will initiate conversation, a firm handshake. We have other students that have initiated things in the building. I have another student that came to me last year in the early stages of this and asked about doing a prayer club. Could he lead that on Wednesday morning? So this is our 2nd year, and he has done that. We have teachers in there just supervising, but he leads it, he does it all. We have other students who have taken on the responsibility of creating a school newspaper. And it's really cool to know how they work together. They do it in Google, so they don't even have to be at school. They can work on it from home and be working on it at the same time, getting things typed in, editing for each other. So we've done a lot of things, and I'm proud of our students. I know the more we get into it and the more we teach them and the more they learn, the more we model it, it's only going to grow and become even bigger.
I hear in these special moments with you today that a driving initiative, if you will, at East Middle is about creating opportunity for youngsters to broaden, even shaking hands and eye contact. What a wonderful, you spoke to me about a manual to manhood.
Yes.
Is that the right?
That's the title of the book, Manual to Manhood. We are hoping, I have written a grant, and we're hoping that the grant will come through. And what we plan on doing, I have already spoken with a male teacher who will next year use this book to target some of our students who may be considered at risk for various reasons. And using this book will just give them daily life skills that maybe they wouldn't get otherwise, like how to iron pants, how to change a tire, how to appropriately ask a girl out on a first date. Just some of those things that maybe we take for granted that all of our students may not know how to do. So we're looking forward to the possibility of having some opportunity to work with some students using that book next year.
We're close to the end, and your incredible leadership at East Wilkes Middle School, your family involvement, your essence about community. A couple of sentences about how your life has been blessed because of your choice to be an educator.
I can't thank my family enough for the support that they've given me, obviously, in the past and still to this day. The teachers that have impacted my life, and then once I have gotten into education, just the opportunities that the Wilkes County school system has afforded me. Opportunities to move to schools that maybe otherwise I would not have entertained the thought of going. I've been privileged to work in all 4 districts. All 4 districts are great. I have met wonderful people and still have relationships and fond memories with people from all the districts. And I just appreciate so much the faith and the confidence that others have put in me to allow me to do what I do and to give me those opportunities.
You've blessed us in a special way today, and we want to thank Wilkes Communications and River Street Productions and WIFM and Sandra Burchette for honoring us in a special way. And I know that you give and share and care, and you believe that in giving we receive.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Come again.
Definitely.